Hello, everyone. As I record this, there is exactly 1 day left to vote in this year's Transformers Hall of Fame, and there is a very special category this year in honor of the late, great Derek Wyatt. One of the categories is Favorite Character from Transformers Animated. It's also interestingly timed with the news that we are getting animated characters represented in Legacy. So this is kind of an interesting little survey to drop. So, let's talk about animated's best characters and who should be on that ballot and who you should put in that other category that they have. Because the whole main cast you can just select on your little check your boxes, but there is an other. So we need to talk about others, but we'll talk about everybody. And I'll tell you this, we're not talking about literally every single character. I've got them listed right here, but we can't do that. I can't make a 2-hour video on this. So we're just going to talk about what I personally think are some of the strongest characters. I'm going to leave a few out. Grimlock's not on here. Bulkhead is not on here. Even Optimus Prime is not on here. Fantastic characters for what they did, but we're looking for the biggest standouts and the biggest personalities in the show. So we're going to talk about, some of the more oddball ones, but also some of the strongest. So let's start the discussion in the most obvious place in the world. We'll discuss Bumblebee. I feel like this is the last true Bumblebee. Remember, this was just after the first movie took off. This character was in the concepting phases before they knew that the frontline hotshot warrior Bumblebee from the live action movie was actually going to be a successful depiction of the character. This pretty much changed every Bumblebee here on out. They all became sports cars. They were all mainline fighters. They were all in line to be the next leader of the Autobots, etc. And we kind of lost track of what the original Bumblebee was like. Fun, young, palling around with humans and getting to know the planet and being more of a spy and more of a reconnaissance more than a frontline fighter. We lose the heart of what makes Bumblebee Bumblebee, at least in the original series. The fact that he is not the powerful warrior that the other Autobots are, but he's still brave and he's still trying, which I think is a really good depiction that we've completely lost track of in all of this Bumblebee has to be the main star thing. So animated Bumblebee, I feel, is like the last bastion of a proper Bumblebee in that original set, and he's a really fun Bumblebee. But then again, I would say he's still in that tier of he's a really good character, but I'm looking for big standouts. So we just cover him because I feel like he deserves to be covered. And then we move into things like Ratchet. He has some depth that Ratchet was never given before. We're learning about his history with Omega Supreme and RC, having a history with Lockdown. He's got a lot going on. Ratchet has a lot in his past. So before this, yes, he's always trying to be that kind of gruff medic type who's just kind of hardened from all of the war and wound. I was gonna say wounds, but damage that he has seen. I feel like animated is what really gave him that that real gruffness and that exhausted veteran vibe to him that kind of carried through to Transformers Prime and has kind of been the go-to Ratchet ever since. So this, at any time your new depiction kind of leaves their presence known in future depictions, you've done a great job writing a character. This Ratchet is surprisingly in depth and surprisingly dimensional, considering Ratchets in the past who were basically just there to repair the Autobots. G1 Ratchet never even really had an episode of his own. Figure that one out for as big a character as he is. Speaking of big characters, this is the Megatron. This is about the only Megatron that I would compare with Beast Wars Megatron. He is calculating, intelligent, powerful, intimidating. He doesn't just make death rays every week to try and destroy the Autobots. This one really could care less about the Autobots. He treats them more as an annoyance. The fact that he wouldn't even call Optimus or even bother to remember Optimus Prime's name until literally the final episode says how much he really thinks of Prime. He's not obsessing over him like G1 Megatron is. It really does just like punctuate how little he thinks of Autobots and how much he thinks of himself. Very, very strong Megatron. Very great depiction of Megatron. Also, it doesn't hurt that he is kind of like a streamlined version of Super Megatron, which is a really good design to pull out once in a while. He's way up there. Way up there. Let's move into something that's a little bit different. All right, so they brought back Waspinator for animated, but because we have Bumblebee in the series, someone was clever enough in the writing process to go, let's actually make these two intertwined. They are the same body type on Cybertron. They come from the same, they come from the same batch of recruits. So they were given they're given their code names at the same time. And we have a Bumblebee and a Wasp. And they parallel each other, where one stays with the Autobots, the other feels betrayed, becomes a fugitive, and that's what leads into Waspinator. It's a brilliant way of working Waspinator into modern fiction, where there is no such thing as Beast Wars. It's a great idea, like really great idea. I would love for them to revisit this at some point. We never got a toy of Wasp at all. Like we had a repaint of Bumblebee planned. It didn't get to have a new head because the budget went to Ironhide's new head instead. That's a whole weird thing. That it was they weren't throwing new heads left and right like they are now. But yeah, it's a super cool idea. Super cool idea to link the two. Oh, talk about a twist on an old favorite. Oh. So I've talked about animated characters in the past. I really should have had Shockwave in that conversation. I kind of regret that I do not. On the surface, Shockwave himself is very much G1 Shockwave, logical, fiercely loyal to Megatron. He goes to the G1 cartoon depiction more than anything. So he's not power hungry like the comic books. No, he is very much just like cold, calculating, Megatron's true right-hand man. And this version adds that extra layer of being like a master of subterfuge, a master of infiltration, to actually become a prime amongst the Autobots as Long Arm, and then be hiding this the whole time. Like, super good depiction of Shockwave. It was such a good twist. Like, great. Oh, by the way, great toy. By the way, 2 robot modes, 2 vehicle modes. Woohoo! Yeah, they went all the way with this depiction. They went all the way to get that whole aspect of his character across. Fantastic character. Fantastic take on Shockwave. Now, if this is in honor of Derek Wyatt, we have to talk about his personal favorite as Swindle. This was a great one. So, Swindle was one of the few characters in G1 to stand out from the rest of his combiner team. Largely because of the episode Bot, which I know a lot of people don't want to remember, but that's how it went. This depiction kind of emphasizes what he was doing there, and it's a strong enough depiction you don't need to ask, where are the other Combaticons? You don't care. You don't want them there. Swindle is rocking it by himself as a weapons dealer for Autobot and Decepticon alike. He doesn't care as long as he's getting paid. He is very much the used car salesman type, and being voiced by Fred Willard was absolutely perfect for conveying that. Yeah, Derek made sure his boy was very well taken care of, both in the writing process and in the acting process. Yeah, this is one of the strongest reimaginings of G1 from Transformers Animated. And if I'm picking a legacy character, this is who I would go with. That said, we have plenty of characters who are unique and original to Animated. I do think that's really important to include. So, if we take a look at, say, for instance, Lugnut. I always account how good a character is by how much they reappear in fiction later. Lugnut does pop up quite often in comic books as well as a few times in toy lines. In Reveal the Shield, he had a brand new, more Earth-based vehicle mode. He also showed up. He was supposed to show up in Cyberverse, but they wouldn't. Hasbro wouldn't let them change the character to a female, so Clobber became an existent, a twin sister to Lugnut. So we have Lugnut and Clobber. But it leaves a legacy, is the thing. And people love Lugnut just for how he's not an in-depth character, right? He's fiercely loyal and an absolute powerhouse of a Decepticon. That's his character. That's all he really needs to do. There really isn't enough of that. Someone so fiercely loyal to Megatron and the Decepticon cause that it's almost a level of worship. Almost DJD level is where Lugnut falls. But I don't think Lugnut would ever be transforming into a torture chamber. He just punches things with a punch of kill everything, the poke. He is fantastic. And a character I really wish we'd see more often, because I think the Decepticons need more loyalty in their ranks, because it keeps tearing them apart. If G1 Starscream knew that this guy was the one watching Megatron's back and would never turn on him, probably wouldn't have tried so many coups, just saying. Again, characters that leave a legacy. Lockdown leaves such an impression in Transformers that he gets to be the main villain of one of the live-action movies. That is leaving an impression. Lockdown here is fantastic. Asymmetrical, super unique in look and design. He's unlike anything that Transformers did before, and there's very few examples of Transformers doing anything remotely close to him since. And then there is the aspect of he is a bounty hunter who keeps a part of his bounties every time in order to upgrade himself, leading to this Frankenstein-looking robot that we have before us. He, again, like Swindle, doesn't really care what side he's playing to. He has worked alongside Decepticons as much as he has worked alongside Prowl. It works out. It's just whatever happens to suit Lockdown's needs at the time. Makes him a really cool character. Oh, and if we're crediting voice actors for this one, Lance Hendrickson? Yeah. Basically, yeah, everything about Lockdown was done right. This is an extremely good standout character. I wish he appeared a few more times in the show, but what we got of him was really special. Alright. I guess we have to go to this too. I guess technically Sentinel Prime also became the lead villain of a live-action Transformer movie, though it is a similar concept in a very different depiction. Sentinel Prime was the first time we actually got our hands on a Prime who was just a flat-out jerk. He was in it for the power. He was in it for the attention, the glory, when he was nowhere near as brave or as kind as Optimus Prime would be. He is not an inspiring leader. He is the type that wants it simply for the glory and the position that it grants him. He is extremely egotistical. And everything about him is basically playing to what the opposite of Optimus Prime would be, which, given their shared history, also makes it another parallel that this show went through for its characterization. Townsend Coleman did a great job voicing the character too, and I love that the designers knew that casting in time to start modifying the designs. It's why his chin got so big. It's why his ears look like little antenna. This guy is straight up supposed to be a robotic version of the Tick. I love that. I absolutely love that. Not nearly as charming or endearing as the Tick is, but he is an extraordinarily good character. He's supposed to be a character you hate. That's the point. So, good job. Most people don't like him, but that means he's doing his job well. So credit to Sentinel Prime. If I'm going with the robotic cast, however, I have got to give my nod to Prowl, who is just... So, Yeah, the name is a legacy character, but I feel like this depiction is entirely 100% a brand new character who just happens to share a trademark with a vintage Autobot. He is the ninja type. He is calm, cool. He is super intelligent when it comes to combat and strategy, and just like very zen. Like, he is like that prototypical ninja style character. And then he gets the full like samurai armor later on to power him up. Gets even better. He is just this super interesting take on Prowl, if you can even call him like any connection to the original Prowl. And then, you get your self-sacrifice in there too, which is always going to bump up a character's like general opinion, like you're always going to be a little bit more invested in a character, willing to go to that length for his friends, for his family, for whatever. Yeah, incredible take. And like if we are getting an animated character at the Legacy series, this one, please Hasbro. This one, do him. Not as an RC retool. Come up with a new bike, please. I need a new bike out of here. That said, that this Hall of Fame vote is not limited to the robotic cast. We can actually have Sorry Sumdak as our selection as well. So, I did the list of best humans in Transformers. I missed a few, admittedly. I missed Daniel, I missed Koji, but I put Sorry at the absolute top of the list. And someone in the comments section said, absolutely not, the character's disgusting, yada yada yada. And all I can say is, I'm sorry you don't have joy in your life. Like, I don't know how you do not enjoy Sorry as a character. She's fun, she's energetic, she's adorable, and she's not like Mary Sue Kicker level where it's like you're just given everything in order to like hang with the Autobots. She's given one key that can do one thing. It's not an overpowered thing it can do. And then it's basically the secret of her real origin that she's basically misusing. That's why it can do what it can do. And I don't call her a Mary Sue because when she is capable of battling with the Autobots, she's not good at it. She's not a mainline fighter. She is not she's not a warrior type. She is not, she's going to save the day through cunning and being just a clever girl, but she's not going to be like toe to toe with Megatron. So don't accuse her of Mary Sue just because she has an ability. Otherwise, you look at Superman, you look at Spider-Man, like seriously, like it's not a Mary Sue just because it's a girl, guys. Like it's not how that works, She has an ability. She uses it. It doesn't make her overpowered. It doesn't make her a self-insert. It makes her useful and relevant to the characters. And it makes her interesting because it gives us a mystery that plays out really well for the first two seasons and into the third one. Beyond that, yes, as far as human characters go, she's really fun. She's really energetic. She is a joy to watch in that series. She doesn't ever get annoying. She doesn't ever get frustrating. She's just, exactly how a human should be depicted. Even if she's technically not. But, that's another point. But if we are choosing any character in the show, my choice and the vote would be Sorry Sumdak. Not to spoil what I voted on. But if we're choosing for a robot in the series, okay, I would go with Prowl personally. Now, like I said, I might have left your favorite off. Bulkhead, you could certainly argue as well. Blitzwing, you could argue as well. But these are the ones I felt stand out the most in the series, from as far as like their past depictions as well as like them as brand new characters. So just one humble reviewer's opinion. Like I said, there's like a day left to vote, so your opinion is yours. Have at it. And hopefully we'll see who finds out. Hopefully we'll see who makes the Hall of Fame relatively shortly. But until then, thank you for joining me at this look back at some of Animated's best. And hopefully we'll be talking more Animated soon because, frankly, for as much as I talk Beast Wars on this series, on this channel. I really do neglect animated sometimes. We need to fix that. We'll fix that soon. Until then. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.